crypto warriors, changing our world day by day. The way of the crypto warriors, can't rely on the bankers, no way.
Good morning, Bix Weir, road2root.com with your morning hornesies, your sip of chaga coffee. All right, lots going on out there. Oh, look, Theta token is running across the ticker, 229. Well, 22.9 cents. Yes, I am on the Theta roll. If you're a private road member, I posted like six videos on it. Go check it out on the private road. It's the wave of the future, my friends. All right. Yesterday, I posted a video. It's right at the top at road2root.com. Alert, Fed panics. $1 trillion pre-bailout as banks brace for the end of the second quarter. Yes, the Fed is just flooding the system with money. I outline it all right here on the private road and on Patreon. If you're not on Patreon, go to Road to Root of Patreon. And join in the fun of watching the Fed create as much money as possible to destroy the entire world. And that's what they're doing. Yes, the gold bugs and silver bugs have been correct for the past 50 years. Hey, you can't print money forever. Well, with computer market rigging, you can. And with the regulators running cover, you can. The question is, do we want to? Now, clearly the Democrats don't want to. The Democrats are ready to destroy the system to stay in power. And that's what they're doing. If you have any question about whether or not the Democrats are pro-America or anti-America, you shouldn't have any questions. The Democratic Party, the people, that's a different deal. I mean, what do you do when all your friends and family and peers and the media tell you that Trump is bad? What do? You know, if you're a Republican in California, you're in hiding. Literally, I was talking to a buddy last night. Literally, we're in hiding. We can't go out and speak our opinion. You can't go on social media to voice your opinion. I myself got kicked out of this chat room next door. You guys heard of that? Yeah, it's like your local, about your neighbors. They are so off the chart lefty. All I said was, hey, let's gain some perspective. The George Floyd protests caused the latest outbreak. We can call it the George Floyd coronavirus outbreak now. It is not the opening of our communities where everybody's in a mask. It was the protests. Let's get this straight right from the start. Don't be an idiot. It was the protests that caused the latest flare-up of COVID. It wasn't the opening of the economy. It was the protests. Really, 2 weeks ago was the protest, right? And 2 weeks later is the incubation period, and bang, of course we have more. I'll get to that in a second. It's just crazy. But we are absolutely, the Fed's gone wild. They are printing money before the end of the quarter. They're buying up everything before the end of the quarter because they know what a problem it's going to be. And then the third quarter's, and then we have earnings time 2-3 weeks after the quarter ends, right? Worst earnings probably in history. Then we have the end of the third quarter, which is the end of the fiscal year. So it is getting absolutely crazy. And we have some craziness going on, hypervolatility in gold and silver, as you can tell. Why? Because today is the last day of the June contract trading. Yes, today is the last day. And then Tuesday, I think you can stand for delivery in the delivery month of July. And let's take a quick look. Silver's still under $18, which is kind of crazy, I might add. But let's look at where we are. This is the COMEX contracts. It was a slow day yesterday with only 75,000 contracts. 75,000 times 5,000 ounces of silver per contract is crazy. That's what? Close to 400 million ounces traded yesterday. Yes, it is insane. Interesting, the open interest right now is 30,000 as of yesterday, probably maybe 25 or 20. Let's just say open interest is 20,000, and let's say they all stand for delivery on Thursday. They give the delivery notifications, 25,000 times 5,000, 125,000 ounces delivered. No, nobody has that. Actually, JP Morgan does, and they might lease it out to people to get the extra double short. But then what are they going to do next delivery month? It's getting really silly out there, really crazy. I expect between now and the election, it's going to get 50 times worse than it is right now. 50 times worse. You thought this year, first half of the year was bad. It's going to be 50 times worse the second half of the year. The Democrats are running out of time. They got to get everybody hating Trump. They have to destroy the economy. They got a lot to do. They got a lot on their plate. And it's not just Democrats. It's the deep state. It's the Republican part of the deep state as well. Just crazy. The world is literally crazy. Literally. And when you're in the financial markets and nothing makes sense, nobody's worked for, 6 months and the stock market doesn't even care. It's all rigged, my friends. 100% rigged, as can be seen, is right before the end of the second quarter, the CFTC comes out and lays some new rules on us. The CFTC is theoretically the regulatory agency of commodities. It is a joke. It always has been a joke. The running joke within the legal community in regulation was pretty smart lawyers went to the SEC, but the real idiots went to the CFTC because they had to be controlled. They can't think for themselves. They're just not smart enough. And I know you guys are watching my show. You're just not smart enough to handle this. Just go to Ted Butler and say, hey, Ted, can you show me how manipulation works? Can you show me how 8 banks control the entire gold and silver markets? How does that work? He's shown you every day for the past 30 years. Yes, you get those emails from Ted Butler. The head of JP Morgan gets the emails from Ted Butler all the time. Every time Ted writes something on his private road, he sends it to Jamie Dimon. He sends it to the legal team of JP Morgan because he doesn't want to get in trouble. He doesn't want to lie, cheat, or steal. He only uses the published documents from the CME and the CFTC. And he has proven time and time again, there's a handful of banks who control, manipulate silver and gold. Obviously, the CFTC can't figure it out, but the Department of Justice has 6 traders from JP Morgan on RICO charges, meaning racketeering charges. What happens if they pull the trigger on the company itself? Then the entire system implodes, and you have no need for regulation. We'll go to a free market somewhere down the line. It might take years. But anyway, CFTC approves 2 final rules and 2 proposed rules at the June 25th meeting, right before the end of the quarter. And then, of course, they had to modify the Volcker Rule. The Volcker Rule said, basically, banks that have the license to print money from thin air shouldn't be making risky bets. They have never implemented the full Volcker Rule. And they keep taking just bits and pieces because the banks are always offsides coming into the end of the quarter. So they modify it. They keep modifying it. And that's exactly what they did yesterday, right before the end of the quarter. Here it is. Financial regulators modify the Volcker Rule. 5 federal regulatory agencies today finalized a rule modifying regulations implementing the Volcker Rule's prohibition on banking entities investing in or sponsoring hedge funds or private equity funds known as covered funds. The final rule is broadly similar to the proposed rule from January. The Volcker Rule generally prohibits banking entities from engaging in proprietary trading and from acquiring or retaining ownership interests in sponsoring and giving certain relationships with hedge funds or private equity funds. Basically, they're saying, hey, banks, we need to move the rigging of the commodity markets out of JP Morgan's hands, out of the big banks' hands, and into BlackRock's hands. So we got to remove some rules that they'd be offsides in. The latest proposal, the final rule, modifies 3 areas of the rule by 1, streamlining the covered funds portion of the rule, meaning taking away the rule, basically. 2, addressing the extraterritorial treatment of certain foreign funds. 3, permitting bank entities to offer financial services, basically, hey, BlackRock, you need to take over the short control of silver manipulation and engage in other permissible activities that do not raise concerns that the Volcker Rule was intended to address. Bullshit. CFTC is there to run cover. So basically, the banks are trying to pass off the manipulation of the precious metals markets, all commodity markets, to BlackRock and all the hedge funds, who collude and work together because they don't have as much reporting responsibilities as these criminal banks. And if they go down, nobody cares, right? It's crazy. And then the CFTC approves 2 final rules and 2 proposed rules at the meeting. What they don't say is they axe 1 rule too. The proposed rule of electronic trading risk principles. This is ridiculous. The whole thing on electronic trading that's how they control the market. Well, we have to change with the times. The CFTC, it took the DOJ, 2 minutes to put 6 traders under indictment for rigging the silver and gold markets? And the CFTC has been looking into it. 3 silver investigations came up with nothing. Here's the big thing, the withdrawal of a proposed rule and supplemental proposal, Regulation AT. On a 3-2 vote, the Commission approved the withdrawal of the Regulation Automated Trading Proposed Rule and Supplemental Proposed Rule. What does that mean? It means the Trump administration is going to rig the markets just like the Obama administration, just like the Bush administration, all the way back to the early 1970s when the first computer trading program went in effect under Arthur Burns, the head of the Fed. Computer programs written by Alan Greenspan back in the 1960s. That's how Alan Greenspan became the head of the Fed, is because he is, or was, now he's like in mid-90s, the #1 world's best computer programmer back in this day. He started in the 60s. Of course he's #1. He invented our financial system. He blames himself for Y2K because he was the one, among others, programming back in the 60s to create computer programs to rig markets and implemented through Arthur Burns, the head of the Federal Reserve, and as the head of the CEA, the Council of Economic Advisors, and then as the head of the Fed, and he passed the baton, shall we say, to all the other financial firms, all the big banks. They 100% help in the rig and profit off the back of it. The only way to keep an unbacked fiat monetary system going is to rig all the markets, and this will continue until the markets shut down. So it doesn't really matter that the CFTC is passing new rules. They're actually removing rules to make it easier for the banks and the hedge funds to rig the markets. And you can tell this. Here's the statement on the by the chairman, this guy Heath Tarbett. The mission of the CFTC is to promote integrity, resilience, and vibrancy of U.S. derivatives markets through sound regulation. They change this mission statement all the time. It used to say to stop the manipulation of markets, and now they don't say that. They said, well, that's not our job. Our job is to run cover for the manipulation. We cannot achieve this mission if we rest on our laurels, particularly in relation to the ever-evolving technology that makes U.S. derivatives market the envy of the world. What is sound regulation today may not be sound regulation tomorrow. I am reminded of the paradoxical observation of Giuseppe di Lampedusa in his prize-winning novel, The Leopard, as if, Heath Tarbett just sits there and reads The Leopard on his day off. If we want things to stay as they are, things will have to change. While the novel focuses on the role of, that just tells you the CFTC wants things to stay where they are. Where are they? They're in a massive 100% control manipulation. Yes, you have to change because you got to make it easier for these hedge funds and bullion banks to rig the gold and silver markets. While the novel focuses on the role of aristocracy amid the social turbulence of the 19th century Sicily, its central thesis that achieving stability in changing times itself requires change can be applied equally to the regulation of rapidly changing financial markets. You're full of shit, Heath Tarbett. But check this out. Today, 96% of trading occurs through electronic systems, bringing with it price discovery and hedging functions foundational to our markets. Absolutely. You have to be able to rig the markets. It is foundational to the corrupt criminal markets that we live in that you have electronic rigging available. So you do everything you can so they can continue what we've had ever since the invention of computer market trading back in the 60s. By and large, this shift to electronic trading has benefited market participants. Really. Maybe 2 or 3 market participants, the riggers. Spreads have narrowed. Liquidity has improved. They're trading 500 million ounces of electronic, ridiculous, fake silver every single day. How much improvement do you need of liquidity? Oh my God. Transaction costs have dropped. And the most unexpected benefit is that electronic markets have been able to stay open and function smoothly during COVID-19 lockdowns. Of course they're open. They're run out of the basement of the U.S. Treasury building, the electronic trading floor in the basement of the U.S. Treasury. You click a mouse. How hard is that? Who cares if there's COVID out there? You still rig the markets the same way you did before. 7 years ago, a different set of commissioners issued a concept release asking the public to comment on what changes should be made to our regulations in light of the novel issues raised by electronic trading. Several years ago, that was, I think he's talking about the silver manipulation. The CFTC asked the world to comment. There was like 3,000 comments. Nobody comments like that in the financial markets. 3,000 comments. Ted Butler, me, everybody in silver, David Morgan, were urging people to write letters to Congress. 3,000 people complained of the criminality, and they did nothing. The CFTC regulators did nothing. And then, lo and behold, we find out that 6 traders at JP Morgan are literally up on RICO charges. They have been shown to be rigging the markets. I mean, they didn't go deep into it, but it was clear. So the CFTC was in the back door. They're standing in their investigation, above the JP Morgan market rigger, looking at him while he's typing notes to friends, said, okay, we're going to rig the market on this day at this time. And it took the Department of Justice to figure that out. I think the CFTC budget's like $110 million. What a freaking waste of money. Hey, Trump, you really care about the economy and the United States? Save the $110, $120 million you spend on the CFTC and buy silver with it. Get rid of the CFTC and buy silver with it. Every country around the world is about to start buying silver, printing money and buying silver and gold, but mainly silver because silver is more valuable. Yes, silver is more valuable than gold. Why? Because there's 6 million of each. 6 billion ounces of each, silver and gold. And gold you stick in a vault. Silver is necessary for the functioning of a high-tech society. Which is more valuable? Anyway, evolving in markets. In withdrawing the regulation AT, the CFTC is consciously moving away from the registration requirements and source code production. Oh my God. You just can't make this stuff up. The world without any regulators would be a hell of a lot better. Why? Because people would stay out of the markets. No one would go into a rigged casino. It's the CFTC and the SEC cover that gives people confidence that this market is freely traded. And it's bullshit. Get rid of the CFTC. Get rid of the SEC. And see how many people trade on those rigged markets. What would happen, an honest market would spring up and everybody would flood into the honest market. That's the way capitalism works. That's the way free markets work. They don't work by creating a central bank to control the interest rates. They don't work by the Treasury Department having to rig every single market, every single moment of every single day. That is the biggest weakness in the United States. Talk about a national security issue. Putin, knowing that we rigged the gold and silver markets, that it is absolutely necessary to rig the markets, all he has to do is go in and buy silver at any moment and destroy the system. Oh well. And then they're just literally stripping the vocal rule of any teeth. They're trying to get the manipulation out of the banking system over to the hedge funds, BlackRock especially. I hear lots of stories, lots of insiders saying BlackRock is the dumping ground for everything. And they have full immunity to do anything they want. And full credit lines open through the Exchange Stabilization Fund within the United States. The secret fund that was created in 1934 with the Gold Reserve Act. Oh, anyway, moving on. Yes, COVID is ridiculous. I told you, this is wave 2. It was caused by the George Floyd protests. I don't call them the Black Lives Matter protests. I call them the George Floyd protests. Look deeply into who George Floyd is. Home invasion, 6 felonies, home invasion, held a gun to a pregnant woman's belly and said he's going to kill her baby. Yeah, let's have him be our hero. Anyway, yes, COVID is exploding everywhere. The deaths are going down. Why is it exploding everywhere? Because everybody was out there protesting. Because the health officials said the Black Lives Matter cause is more important than the protest, than COVID. Are you kidding me? And now they're saying COVID's more important. It is stupid. Do not fall for the bullshit. 0.003% of the people die. And if you have COVID and you die, you have COVID and you get hit by a car, that's a COVID death. Please, America, wake up. Please, world, wake up. Look at all the mistakes these health experts have made. Every other day they say the exact opposite thing. It is a con. It is a fraud. It is part of the battle between the good guys and bad guys behind the scenes. There you have it. For more information, join the private road at Road to Ruta. Go to roadtoruta.com, hit subscribe today, and I will send you, loaded onto a paper wallet, 100th Theta and 100th Theta fuel. Stick it away in your vault, and someday you'll be a very, very wealthy person. If Michelle White Dove is correct that Theta is going up over $1,000, that's $100,000 I'm giving away right there at some point in the future. Will it happen tomorrow? No. Will it happen next month? No. Will it happen in 5 years? We'll see. That's a lottery ticket I'm giving away. Anyway, this is Bix. Like and subscribe. YouTube will cut me off one day. I got the Patreon channel. Go to roadtoruta.com and use the search function for anything you want to know about financial markets and the rigging of them and the exposing of the rigging of them. This is Bix. I'll talk to you guys later.